Alright, we're ready to go, and we'll see the changes in version 10 as we drive along. So just one thing that's really funny to note is basically version 9, well, the last version 9 was 2019.13, sorry, 2019.32.2.1 or something like that. I'd have to check that. But version 10 is 2019.32, so that's a surprise, .11. So basically, in their version numbering, version 10 seems to be like a minor version. And my best explanation for that is it's possible that version 10 was already deployed on the cars, but just not fully activated, and they were just playing it safe and making sure that everything in the last version was working correctly, which would be, from a point of view of deployment and safety, a pretty smart thing to do. So my guess is the engineers at Tesla we're actually calling version 10 2019.32, but of course that's just speculation on my part. But it's still an interesting thing to note, I think. Okay, so now we're gonna try to see how these visualizations change as we get on the highway. So we should see new visualizations come up, and okay, so now it's showing you, I'm sorry about the chime, but we should actually test drone mode. Okay, so this is new. Now you see an actual real-time rendering of the dotted lines, which is really cool. And the actual car passing me here, this is much more fluid in terms of animation. So a lot of improvements there already in the display of the status of the car and the cars around you. So I'm going to turn on navigate on autopilot in a few seconds as soon as I'm done with these lane changes here. So we're going to go into a tunnel here. I wonder if it's going to change something. Okay, you can see that the dotted lines show up really fast. So it's really improved in terms of detecting the status of the road. Okay, so here it doesn't show the dotted lines anymore. That's interesting. I wonder if it's a question of low light. We'll see what happens. Also, we're coming up to a place where I've had a lot of occurrences of phantom braking, so we'll be able to see what happens. So I've had phantom braking around here already at times. There's a car coming here. Okay, so when the blue line shows up, it covers the dotted line, so you can't see it anymore. They'll probably have to fix that. So that we can see it again. But so far, first impressions are pretty good. Oh, okay, so we brake pretty hard. I'm not sure why. Maybe because this car in front of us is pretty slow. But that was a pretty hard brake again. But again, this was nothing like the previous ones, which were much scarier. This was just like a hard, quick brake correction. And the nice thing is that if somebody was behind me, they would not be that surprised by this thing. So, okay, so here I've had a few brakes, hard brakes, and under this thing, for example. So we'll see. All right, no, well, I guess we're already going pretty slow here. There's quite a lot of traffic here, so not sure I'm going to be able to do much about it. Okay, so steering seems a little bit more reactive. Seems to be doing a lot more things, although this could be just an impression. I'm gonna have to turn it off here because I do have to do this manually. There's a lot of traffic. Oh my gosh, this guy's turning left also. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go into this lane. So yeah, you can see that it's clearly mapping the roads much more precisely than before. So this is quite impressive, I must say. I had seen reviews of that previously in the early access program. So we're gonna continue here. So, okay, so the steering is moving around a little bit here, strangely. It used to be pretty straight, so it's not sure if it's trying to be more precise. So let's see how it handles this turn here. All right. Okay, so it seems like everything is more precise overall. The steering and also the speed adjustments. Okay, so that bug is still there. So that's the bug that wants to go into that right lane, which is just merging right now. So that's a shame. I wish they had corrected that. Okay, now we can see the new lane change. And okay, it aborted. It's gonna do. Oh, I had to take over here. All right, so that didn't work. Okay, now it wants to change to follow the route, so we still don't want to do that. We don't need it. But we do need to change to a faster lane. So it seems the map navigation data still hasn't changed, because here I can still drive 100 when it's telling me I can't go faster than 80. It seems to me like, yeah, all the car movements are much more fluid, and it seems also to render the cars further away, but I'm not entirely sure of that. Yeah, overall it seems like we're having a much higher refresh rate. So I do have the first version of hardware 3 in my car. Maybe they're finally using that fully. Would explain the improvements in the actual refresh rate here. So, of course, on the highway I can't have oncoming traffic, but it's supposed to display that on other roads, so we'll see that later as we have the case happen. And, all right. Yeah, so here it's detecting 3 lanes, and one of them is closing, and it's now allowed to do. Yeah, so big improvements in the lane displaying. I'm not sure what it was detecting before. It was detecting it like that. Now it's also displaying the merging lane. Yeah, what's funny is that it doesn't display the merge itself. It just displays the lane as there or not. So that's kind of weird. Okay. But the dotted line's moving like that very precisely. I wonder how precise it is. It's actually detecting the actual dotted lines or not. But it's pretty impressive. So big changes there in terms of the actual rendering, that's for sure. So far, in terms of the autopilot, navigate on autopilot, not that many changes. It seems to behave pretty much like it did before. Okay, you saw that new animation for the lane change there. Also, I didn't mention this at the start of the video, but so in the release notes, the smart summon was not there. And this was something I expected. I also saw it on a Facebook post that some people were basically listing the features that were there and not there. So I can confirm that smart summon is not available in Switzerland, which is of course a shame. But this is mostly due to this EU regulation that's in place in Europe. You may or may not know that Switzerland is not actually part of the European Union, but this directive is actually not a directive of the European Union. It's the directive of the United Nations Council for Europe. So I'm guessing that somehow applies to Switzerland, or that automatically gets ratified by Switzerland, as we do have bidirectional agreements with the European Union, so that might be part of that package. But anyway, so yeah, just as other European countries, Switzerland does not get smart summon. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But at the same time, based on what I saw from the early tests of smart summon, it's still very early. The system seems to not respect lanes, and it just crosses through parking spots and stuff like that. So for me, it seems like it's a little bit hacky for the moment anyway, so it's not something I really would miss. I was hoping that we would get in version 10 the improvements to detect traffic lights, but we didn't. And so that's still announced for this year. Will we get it this year? Somehow I don't see Tesla doing a minor update with these features, and I seriously doubt they would release a V11 for this year. Usually they only release one major version per year. So there's a good chance, I would say, that these features are going to be pushed back to next year, which I think is a little bit annoying, because ever since I ordered the car, I think it was in April, and they were even announcing this in March and February. They were announcing these features as available this year. If they're not going to deliver them this year, they should start warning people at least, or just apologizing or something, which is something Tesla could do. It's that kind of company. So yeah, I think we'll see, but I'd be very surprised if we get it before the end of this year. But it would be a huge improvement, because that's basically the last thing that's really missing in terms of using it, let's say, outside of the motorway, highway, and into more minor roads, let's say, but not in downtown, of course. So here I'm testing it in the actual construction road work, and seems to be doing okay for the moment. Here it doesn't have too many confusing lines, but just now it's going to have some, so we'll see. Okay, it did that right. That's good. That's very good. So it's not picking, I don't know if it's picking up that dotted line or not. Here, okay, so. Oh, what's really good is that you can see what it's detecting a lot better now. So in construction, so far, it's pretty good. Yeah, and what's really amazing, it detects solid lines compared to dotted lines, which is something it should do, but it's great to actually see it. So here I'm trying to figure out if it's detecting, yeah, so it is detecting the outer lines and not the one I'm driving over. So it seems to be doing the right thing here. Yeah, well, we're almost out of this construction part, and I didn't have to take it out of autopilot, which is, I don't know if it's a first, but it's definitely one of the best sessions. Okay, and we're now out of construction. Well done. So clearly improving all the time. I'm not sure how significant these improvements are, but visualization definitely helps. So maybe it's just the fact that you can visualize what's going on a lot better. And okay, so that's interesting. So under low light, it doesn't show the dotted lines. As we were going underneath that bridge, you could see that it switched to a continuous line, which was not the case actually. It was a dotted line. A stripe line, I'm not sure what to call those. Okay, so here we have a little bit of slowdown, I don't know why. Okay, let's change lanes here, and it's gonna abort, probably. No, okay, because the car behind me was also changing lanes, so in some cases it doesn't like that. Okay, it seems to handle these curves a lot better than it used to. I had much more jerky movements in the steering wheel. Okay, now we can go to the top limit. Okay, now it wants to change into a faster lane. Let's do it then. I'm not sure exactly what the visualization is supposed to show you, because for me it doesn't do stuff that's that much different from the previously. One thing you can notice is as we're driving faster now, you can see that the lines are moving faster. So they're, I'm not sure how precise they are, but they're clearly associated with the speed of the vehicle. So again, a detail, but that's quite impressive, I must say. So I think one of the things with these visualizations that's very smart is that in order for you to trust the system, you need to understand what it's actually seeing. And this reconstruction, this visual reconstruction of the environment is a good way of understanding what it sees and what it doesn't. So that's, I think, a very nice thing to be working on. And I fully agree with that focus. Okay, now we're off the highway. So we can look at the visualizations again and see what's going on. So when the lanes are pretty much separate, you can't see traffic that's coming towards you. So for example here, I'm not sure we'll be able to see it. Yes, we do now. Okay, so now you can see the cars that are coming on the other side, but it's not picking all of them up. That's interesting. Right now it's not picking the ones up that are coming, so maybe it's just the ones that are on the lane, the opposite lane directly. But I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, so it's not showing you all the traffic. Okay, so here it saw the motorcycle, had a weird car display there. Okay, now we're seeing traffic that's crossing, but not all of it. It's really weird. So it seems to be showing some of the cars, not all of them. And here it's giving me dotted lines for what was the bicycle lane, basically. This truck is turning here, so it doesn't show me the truck turning. It doesn't show me cars coming from the side there. You saw that also. I was wondering if... Okay, now we see oncoming traffic. But not always. We need to be pretty close to it for it to show on the visualization. If the lanes get separated, it seems it doesn't show it. Okay, roundabouts are clearly not showing up, which is a nuisance because they really should. Especially since the navigation knows about them. There's something weird going on with my navigation also here. It's not updating in terms of... Oh, maybe oh, here we go. That was my fault. I blocked it. It's the time at which kids get out of the school right now. So there's a lot of traffic and a lot of kids, so I have to be careful. Okay, so I'm almost home. Basically what I can say about the navigation and autopilot, it seems to be at least as good as it was before. I saw some minor improvements mostly in the steering, I would say, and maybe some of the braking. Still seems to have gotten better. I had, well, I wouldn't call it phantom braking, but I had some braking I couldn't really explain, although it was nothing like before, where it would really slam the brakes really hard. So it's more like quick reactions. These visualizations are a big improvement, although they still seem like they can be improved on, but I'm sure that's going to come given how much focus they put on it. Okay, that's it for this video of driving with version 10. I hope you enjoyed it. Overall, I think it behaved pretty well. Acceleration and slowdown seem more responsive. Steering also seems a little bit finer. And I didn't have any occurrences of phantom braking that were too serious. At least the braking has changed a little bit in the way it reacts. So yeah, so as you know, this is part 2 of a 3-part on version 10. Tomorrow or next day, I don't know exactly when, but I'll release the part 3, and that will be the testing of the game Cuphead with my son. So look out for that video, it should be fun. Alright, if you like this video, make sure to put a thumbs up and hit the notification bell and subscribe, of course, if you want to get notified when the next video comes out, and the next one should come out really soon. And don't forget to comment if you want to ask any actions or have any requests. I'll do my best to answer them. And last but not least, I'm trying to grow the viewership, and so every little bit helps. So make sure to share this video if you can or if you want to. And I'll see you next in the video. Bye-bye.